got to start. Oh, they've got the tune. Have we? The red bit's taking forever. Yeah.
I think you still need to do the countdown. It's good.
Yep, go.
Tira mai na iwi, tato tato e. Tu tira mai na iwi, tato tato e. Aya te ngara mantanga, me te aroha. Kia katapatai, kia katahira, tata we.
And that was Carolyn Potter with
Kia tau te mori o ranga, kia tau te mori o raro. Pahiritia te turi wairua, pahiritia te turi tangata. Hei pau arahi I a tātou I tēnei wā, kia tika te whakaaro, kia tika te kupu tihei Māori ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, Melanie Coker, Councillor for Spreydon.
Tēnā koutou, Matthew McClintock, Community Governance Manager, Waihoro.
Kia ora, Keir Leslie, Board Member from Cashmere.
Lee?
Kia ora, Lee Sampson, Deputy Chair based in Cashmere, but not quite today.
Lee? Lee?
Yes.
Can you tell us where you are today, just for history?
Oh, I'm in my mum's lounge in the UK.
Where?
We're in just outside Chester in northwest England.
Kia ora. Thank you, Lee. Got it. Blood from a stone. Thank you very much for turning up, Callum. You missed the singing performance of the century. Yeah. This one is worth watching. Declarations of interest. Are there any apologies? Oh, thank you. Oh, we'll take that. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the apology for lateness to be received? Mel and Tim. And all those in favour say aye. Against, abstentions carried. Declarations of interest? None. Confirmation of previous minutes. Mel, the minutes say that you wanted your name to be recorded. I didn't remember you saying that. Is that right? Okay. Okay. Can I have a mover and a seconder for the minutes, please?
Happy to move, Carolyn, with that change.
No, well, Mel says it's fine.
Oh, okay.
I know
Sorry.
I know it wasn't said at the meeting, but her heart was there, so it's fine. So Lee moves, Tim seconds. All those in favour say aye. Thank you. Carried. Public forum. Anybody in public forum? Nobody. I think that's the first time this year we haven't had public forum. Nobody in public forum. Deputations by appointment? No. Presentation of petitions and the Dyers Pass Road Craycroft intersection. Sally Ann, I gather we've got you on Zoom, is that right?
Hear me, okay?
Yeah, we could
Yeah,
just hear the end of it, yep.
Oh, fabulous. Yeah, I'll put my video on as well. Yes, I'm going to do that for you too. Yeah, in a bit when it's my turn.
We've all read your papers, and thank
Yeah.
you very much.
No problem.
Is there anything there that you wanted to point out, or anything pertinent?
No, I mean all the details in the report, so it's quite straightforward, I think.
It is. We've had a few of them from up the hill recently.
Yeah, there's a few. There were a few more came through after I put that report in as well.
Sorry, go ahead, Sally Ann.
There were a few more came through after I put that report in as well.
Are they all along the same lines? Do you think it reflects the roadworks on Dyers Pass, or do you think it's something different?
Oh, no, at that particular spot, I mean, school children are using it to cross the road, so it's a visibility issue with the parked cars being there. So I mean, I don't think the roadworks would have too much effect on how many people are crossing there.
I just wondered if people were taking more care or thinking about it more because of the roadworks just all over the hill. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Tim and Keir, thank you. Is there any further discussion on the issues? Yeah.
Yeah, hey, thank you for looking into this, because the kids that live around the Crowcroft Terrace area, and because there's no footpath on the other side, you're right, that's where they cross. So I've been interested to know what the other areas on the road are that you're looking at. So now that the roadworks are slowing down, we're getting a lot more of the traffic that used to go from the bays that were just doing around to Littleton. They're now coming back over the hill. So that's going to be an issue again back to the schools.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was specifically that little area. There were a few more parents that had come forward and said that they were concerned about children crossing and the visibility. So yeah, because I've been sharing the tickets with Tony, who normally looks after your area. I mean, I've not had any more from her.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we'll just stay in touch with Tony if there's any
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you. Cheers.
That's okay.
So we can expect more issues from Dyers Pass coming in the next couple of meetings, can we?
No, I'd have to check with Tony to see what tickets she got through. The issues I were dealing with were specifically at that point to do with the issues in this report.
Okay. Any discussion from the board? Nothing. All those in favour, please say aye. Against, abstentions, carried.
Fabulous, thank you.
Thank you. No, well, we find in the past the traffic engineers have been really good on Dyers Pass Road. Sometimes where they haven't approved a ticket, they haven't gone through with a change to the roads or anything, but most of the time these ones are justified.
Yeah,
it's not an easy area up there.
No, not at all. It's a busy road carrying quite a lot of traffic.
Yeah, and multiplicity of traffic. Like, bikes and kids and
yeah, I cycle up and down there quite a bit myself, actually.
Oh my goodness, yeah. So we're straight to elected members exchange. We're not going to like this much because we've all got the meeting at 7 o'clock. Means hanging around probably. Pardon? You could cook. Elected members information exchange. Starting Tim.
Thank you. I managed to get John Higgins and Toby, the arborist, to visit with me to some people on Majestic Lane. There is a protected tree there, and it's a huge copper beech tree.
Which lane, sorry?
Majestic Lane, it's off Thorrington, you know where Thorrington
yes,
Road
I
goes
know.
round.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's at the very end.
Yeah.
So at one stage it had been taken off the protection list and now it's back on, but that's irrelevant because it is a huge tree. We've got one and this thing is literally, its trunk would be the size of that gap easily.
Do you know its breed?
Yeah, it's a copper beech.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, I know.
copper beech are an interesting tree. They drop a little kind of very prickly little thing and it opens up as a wee seed, which apparently you can eat, but they're tiny, but they're horrid things to drop. But in our district plan with protected trees, you can trim 5%, but there's a whole rigmarole to it, and it's already strapped if you look up. So they're really concerned about the safety issues, etc., which is understandable because I mean it is massive. So that was really good. So it was great to get John Higgins out because he's like the encyclopedia of all that kind of thing. So it's great. And I'm also tomorrow.
What do you think is going to happen to it?
Well, in fairness, it should definitely be trimmed, you know, because they are, and I think they said that a 2 or 3 metre long branch had fallen off onto the neighbour's house. So, you know, they are, you know, so they're looking at that now, and John and Toby are helping them. And then I'm meeting a couple of people tomorrow, one at the Crowcroft Cashmere Road Bridge, just to talk about cycleways and the more cyclists, and that bridge is it's the pinch point, as we all know. So we're just meeting with them to talk about options, because the house, if you're looking north on Cashmere Road at that bridge, so you're looking downriver, the house on the river, the big one, it's kind of down below the bridge, it's just been sold. So the old owner, because we talked to them about a sliver of land, he wanted to sell the whole thing. He's obviously,
that's right.
Yep. Well, the new owners apparently would be open to selling a sliver. But I mean, this is so long, you know, it's such a long shot, but I thought I'd go and talk with them and just explain where we are at the moment and etc. So, and then after that, I'm meeting people down at 282 Cashmere Road, because, you know, the cycle lane staff are just looking at between Cashmere or Crowcroft and Henderson's Road. They're right on the corner of where Cashmere Road goes down towards Happy Home Road and Henderson's Road starts. So they just want their neighbours just talking about, you know, what land's going to take. I've said to them that we're only just starting to talk, you know, nothing's been planned, but I kind of went down there the other day, and, you know, when you go around that wide corner on Henderson's, there is so much space there. So it'd be interesting to see their concern. I think somehow they think there's a cycle lane going the other way towards Happy, which there was never any discussion of that. So.
No,
But I just thought I'd meet with them. And
there would be no such a thing.
no, absolutely not. No.
See, I don't think your bridge justifies expenditure.
No, well, what I was thinking with that, could we not put one, you know, like slow it down, just that corner to 30 or 40 Ks, and put wands on either side? Because if it's narrow, it slows people down narrow. Yeah.
Along that corridor, a couple of spots where actually a couple of lines put ones in, which I think
Yeah. I think, yeah. And we've actually got it established on that Cashmere corner by so, you know, it's been done, because I know when we talk about Fernley Bridge, and we said, why not just have some wands on one side, and they're saying, oh, you know, that for some reason they won't. So it's somehow safer to have prams and things going down with no protection. It just doesn't make. But anyway, it's anyway. So
I go past there several times, and I just can't see that it's dangerous myself. But because there's so little traffic.
Oh, and but the Cashmere Road one is definitely an issue. So you know, that's what I'm doing. But I think
anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh, Mel.
I went to the Matariki celebrations at Raleigh, but I turned up after 1 o'clock and it was 12 till 2 and everyone had pretty much gone. So I just stood there chatting for a while. So I missed the kids singing from, I think it was from the kindergarten next door, I'm not sure. Yeah, anyway, I missed the whole thing, but I did turn up. And I had heard from a man in Feast Place, and he's concerned about motorcycle parking at Tauranga, which is sort of a separate issue to our ward. But his other more recent one was he's worried about repairs, I guess, or repainting of the inside of where he lives, you know, because they have like a rotation of, they do them every 15 years or something like that. And he's worried about having to move all the stuff out. And so anyway, that's getting looked at, and he probably shouldn't have to do that. But he sort of was saying, you know, I'm not that young and it's not unfair, it's unfair for me to have to move out, etc. So anyway, I think that one's sorted. And then another question some people had was about a bed and breakfast, 2 of them, I think, in Rustic Lane, but I've had feedback from staff about that, so I just need to send that on to them. They were concerned about it, but it's perfectly fine what's happening. Yeah. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff in the annual plan, like Tim got through the extra 400,000 in the coronet because we had that last week. So there was a bunch of, I thought, very
What was that on?
coronation reserves. There's 400,000 going to the next year. So
900 got taken off, by the way, so we're still 500 down, but that was over 10 years.
400,000. Well, we probably disagree on that, Tim, but that, yeah.
it's
They,
very
they
good
did a good job
win
on
for our-
advocacy. They did a good job on advocacy, that group.
They did, and it's sold over, the mayor basically. We were looking at waterway quality and compliance for the sediment and erosion, and staff have recommended 500,000. Tim and I tried to get 300, but we got 250,000 towards that to increase enforcement and education of developers who are building on the hills and letting erosion sediment, you know,
It's
come
enough
down
to
to the
employ
rivers.
someone.
Well, at
isn't it?
least
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
And with specific skills in that area. There is a note about an activity management plan for the Waihoro River for the next annual plan or LTP, but we'll have to see if that comes through. And there's also one about looking at a management plan for the Port Hills, but there's a lot of resistance about doing that.
I raised years ago night sky possibility on the Port Hills. I wasn't saying develop a night sky now. I was saying, is there any way we could look at the land that we've got governance of to set aside for thinking about night sky observation, people going up there to take photographs and things like that. I wasn't thinking of anything like Tekapo. I wasn't thinking of huge expenditure. I just thought we could set aside some land that was ours in terms of governance for night sky. And has there been anything ever? No.
And then a couple of other things. We are hopefully going, it's called, I haven't got the wording, capacity, but essentially ranges without the word ranger and across the city. And so that should apparently happen within the funding envelope we currently have, because we were discouraged from asking for more funding for that. So we will look to see if that eventuates, and if not, there will be numbers of submissions next time.
It does seem to get between what we're hearing, so forward,
Yeah,
and what the parks are saying. So
yeah.
See, there's a real problem with the floodplains because staffing hasn't been allocated to the floodplains, and apparently they're growing terrible weeds.
I brought all that up
Did you?
along with what Marie says. So
Yeah.
anyway, and then the other thing is we deferred excess water until the 1st of October, the charges for people using excess water,
I saw that.
rather than the whole year that it
Yeah.
could have been.
Yeah, it was
So
in the paper.
That was a win of sorts.
Yeah.
well, it was a real shame because there was one thing that actually responsible for use and that this what it is, and it's lost in the conversation.
I think there was something in the paper about water use being looked at. It's, sorry about water use and responsible. But if you've got 6 kids, well, you're in a bit of a spot of bother compared to. Yes, you can.
So there's nothing, but if you've got a big house with sprinkle an acre of land, you put sprinklers on it.
Yeah, no.
But people don't fill up with sprinkle. It's the thing, you know. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Lee, would you like, is that all? Sorry, Mel, is that it? Lee, would you like to talk about everything that you're doing in Chester for Christchurch?
Don't think it's particularly relevant to this meeting, but hey, no, the only I was just wondering if members would raise how last night went in terms of the library, whether mindset moved through the evening and what maybe key themes are you able to allude to
Yep,
to that?
I was going to mention that in my in my thing, and now that you've raised it, I think the other two will mention it as well. It was heartening. It was heartening.
Okay.
Is there anything else? What's it like there? Just a couple of sentences. Just tell us.
Well, weather is glorious at the moment, so obviously we're in
The weather's glorious, is it? Is there anything is there anything when you looked at Cheshire, which part of my family comes from, if you were looking at that, is there anything that you could say that the Poms are doing that we should?
No, I think a few things are going backwards here at the moment, but no, I wouldn't be taking many tips from here at the moment.
Apart from the fact that they've got rail.
And good cricket team.
True.
And a great cricket team. Kia just said, and a great cricket team. Don't worry, I've got dynamite to chuck at you.
We'll move right along. Thank you very much, listeners.
Callum, I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Callum?
A couple of things. Which to help set up at least for the Addington Farm Mihi Whakatau for their new board members, because I couldn't make it to the actual event. I just had a calendar clash, but yeah, they've so the Addington Farm is appointed. They were originally umbrellaed by Southwest Baptist Church, and now as they've planned to for a long time, they've now sort of butted off, and they've got their own trust with its own board members.
And they've got more than one piece of land too, haven't they now?
I don't, not in terms of ownership, but they do use bits of land that other people allow them to use. Yeah. And yeah, so the 4 board members, they looked for people from Addington, and they're all very sort of impressive people. I wish I'd got a chance to meet them, but yeah, that they managed to fill out the Manuka Cottage building with people for their welcoming for their new board members. So they've got really, really good engagement with the community.
That's great.
Yeah. It'd be cool to sort of, I think, have them come to the board sometime to chat about what they're up to and see if there's anything that we can do to support.
Come to the new board.
Yeah, I know Watney, you've had a bit to do with them, eh?
Yeah, I was meant to go as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It would be great if they could come to the new board so that they could be met. And,
just introduce themselves.
Yeah, introduce themselves, and a little summary of the history of it so that the board has an understanding.
Yeah. So they're really impressed with that. Other thing was I had a chat with a person, so this isn't particularly maybe council area of sort of I guess jurisdiction, but I told them I'd raise them with the board anyway. Person who lives on Ruskin Street, and this is actually outside our ward area too, but by the by, at the moment, saying that they were having some serious issues with a landlord there with a huge number of who owns a couple of properties on the street with a huge number of tenants, and believes that they're kind of mistreating the tenants or abusing them in some way.
Sort of like exploitation.
Yeah. I think, and it was related as well to some antisocial behaviour happening in Ruskin Reserve. So
it's worth reporting,
Oh yeah, so
it will be associated with employment, won't it?
Yeah. So what I said was, well, she'd already contacted the police, which was I was also put her onto the Tenants Protection Association.
Yeah.
And I think, I think she's also got in touch with Jake McClellan as well, who's actually the councillor for that ward. So, but I told her I'd raise it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm glad to have it on
Yeah.
here. I'm on the board of TPA,
yeah.
and tenants protection.
Oh, yeah.
But I really, I mean, that kind of thing makes you feel very unwell when they associate when their accommodation is associated with their employment, and they can be minus both
Yes.
and kicked out of the country, because that's what's the hold over them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's true it's slavery.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this landlord is known to police already for past sort of abuses. So
It's good though that something was done.
yeah, I mean, you're building a case, I guess, is good.
Doesn't do any harm to have that in their minutes.
Yeah. The other thing was I had a conversation with someone, again, a different person around the crossing across Morehouse Ave, the bike crossing to Hagley Park, and how the cars are clipping the corner there. And I sort of wanted to raise that again because I think that could be a really good candidate for flexi posts. It just seems like a really obvious solution.
Did we ask for
We
advice?
did.
on
We did
that?
ask
I
for
think-
advice.
And
on
we
that.
asked for advice on
We
that.
have,
Well, I
yeah.
think we should add to that. Can we ask for advice again
Yeah.
and say, what would you say the danger is there?
Oh, it's cars driving through the cycle lane, shortcutting through the cycle lane.
And
By cutting the corner.
with which light? It's not it's not, is it the,
It's when when the traffic's coming from Morehouse into Lincoln Road.
so it's the left,
Yeah, turning left into Lincoln Road.
because they feel as though they're cutting the corner there anyway. You
Yeah.
know, it's really,
Yeah, and you can actually see that the bike path is worn back to the asphalt because there's
Right.
been so much traffic can move across
yeah,
it. So
it
yeah,
is.
I mean, it sort of sounds like a similar thing to what you were talking about. To maybe it would be good to even bring someone in to talk about the constraints around where and how we use flexi posts and what they,
It's a good
yeah.
idea.
because I think there's probably lots of places I could think of where that.
So
could be.
broaden the issue of flexi posts.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And plus that corner off Morehouse onto Lincoln Road.
yeah. I think that is a particular one.
Yeah.
Would be a good candidate. Yeah,
Okay.
that's me. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah.
What I might do is through you, and I'll just send you an email which you can send on to Matt or whatever, and the rest of the team. Because I was just thinking with the Cashmere Bridge, I wonder if we could see if they would look at that as, you know, just slowing that down. Because I mean, I know they're a lot more open with Wakakatahi now. And I'll just mention it on an email and put that forward.
You mean approach them directly and say you want them?
No, through the board, through yourself, we can ask staff to include that in what Callum's talking about with
Well,
regards to.
I think collectively we were thinking that. So we've
Yeah.
got two
Okay,
issues.
cool, yeah.
Two issues where we think flexi posts are, but we'd like to know the pros and cons of flexi posts
Yeah.
for future use. So we'd like to have a background ourselves,
Yeah.
an understanding of how good they are
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
what they can be used for.
Yeah.
And the two issues we've raised now are Lincoln Road and what's that bridge called?
Cashmere Bridge. Also.
Smartly or
Oh no, that fairly. Let's not worry about that one at the moment. The Cashmere Road one's the big one,
okay.
and also can slower speeds go hand in hand with them in certain areas.
I think instinctively everyone goes slower when we're going around that corner.
Yeah.
We've gone past Princess Margaret, and there's the road that goes off the old stone house,
Oh yeah.
and then
No, not that. I think I was going to say instinctively with the corner that has got flexi
oh yes,
posts.
yeah, they do.
I slow down there because otherwise you feel as though you're going to spin out if you go too fast around that
Yeah.
corner. I'm not saying everybody slows down,
Yeah.
but I do.
Cashmere Road, Shalimar Drive.
Yes,
Yeah,
bridge. Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Pierre,
So, what did I have? Went to the workshop that this on the South Library rebuild.
Yeah.
Tim and Carolyn, you were there too, and we looked at the
and Mel left.
yeah
Oh,
yeah the workshop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you there?
You were here, but you left early.
No, the workshop.
Oh, in the
The-
morning, in the
yeah.
morning. It wasn't the other day. It was yesterday in the morning and then we went to last night. So we're talking about
Yes.
both, aren't we?
Yes, but
Yeah.
I just thought I'd report back on that one to the board, just so we can get that noted. It was very high level, I think would be a fair way to say it. probably the feeling what I got was that they're very much at that bringing ideas in stage, which is awesome. And I think, you know, clearly very open to that stuff. There are some really good things to talk about. The only, I guess, thing that we should probably be really keen to make sure we emphasize in terms of the design stage of it is that obviously there's the libraries have a really strong idea about library space, which is cool. You'd expect them to. And I guess the service centre has some good ideas about service space, but we should be really keen to make sure we're getting really strong community, you know, the community space as well, because this is a, you know, there's a community and a community governance space that we kind of have that aspect of it that we should be really, yeah.
There was a very good woman sitting there who spoke very much about the community and future proofing and not, what about the photographs of the Latvian libraries? Weren't they extraordinary? Yes, go ahead, keep going.
So I mean, I guess, you know, like I think obviously libraries are pretty passionate about libraries, but I guess, you know, community governance and the community, like those spaces that the community use, we should make sure that we're, and actually the spaces we use as well. One thing is that, you know, this boardroom is actually a space that the community come and talk to us, and we need to make sure it's working for the community. So that was cool. That felt really positive. I've had a resident of Karatane Drive contact me. One Phil Clearwater, I believe his name is. Anyway, he says that there is, on behalf of a couple of the residents on Karatane, and they have, they've done some planting. There's been some plantings go down by the, let me make sure I get the right location. So just down by the Barrington Bridge. And they're having some trouble with the, so the Kirby Bridge, which is apparently called Ara Totara, which I didn't know, which is cool, actually. That's nice to know that. Anyway, they've done some planting. You know where Barrington Street
Fairview, yes.
Yeah, so they've done some planting, I think, on this side of the river.
Yeah.
And they're having problems with students from Cashmere High.
Tell us what it is again. Fairview Bridge. You're talking about
No,
the bridge
I'm
on
thinking
Fairview.
about the pedestrian. Yeah, the footbridge. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
And then you've got the
the pathway of desire. Yeah, the big footbridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the
The
Kirby
old one.
Yeah. So apparently the problem that they're having some problems with
But
pedestrian.
the old footbridge you're talking about. Yeah.
Don't quote me on this one because I'm
tell us
afraid.
what the name is again.
Apparently, Ara Totara, which I think is quite nice. That it's a step up on the old one.
But you're talking about the old one, aren't you? Yeah. Okay.
So that is they're having problems with students from Cashmere High parking on the riverbank. It's apparently got coned off. And obviously, you know, especially with winter mud, siltation of the river, it's not good.
It's got a it's quite a difficult bridge there. If you're not a good walker or you've got a little kid, it's quite steep on one side of it. In other words, there's something like it's been distorted in the earthquake and stayed distorted because it doesn't feel very safe on one side.
So they are keen. So parks are, I think, would like to put some bollards in, but it needs to be. Obviously it's going through the process and it's taking its time. Yeah. So would it be possible for us just to ask for that one to be looked into?
Yeah.
Because particularly, you know, it's good. They've got a little roku that's kind of keen to take ownership of that space. So we should, I guess, help them do that. We'll do it. I can flick the contact details of the residents through to you, Marie. Cool. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, we can ask about that.
That was all that I had today.
Yeah. I was I think the staff were quite nervous about the meeting yesterday morning and last night. I thought they were run exceptionally well. I praised them at the meeting and I praise them now. I'd like it even in the minutes. I thought the staff had done an excellent job of preparation for both meetings. The place was packed. It could have been difficult, but I think the people there were impressed by the preparation that the staff had gone into. And it was excellent preparation. And it was like what the drainage guys used to do, which was speak slightly above people's understanding, using technical terms occasionally, which people actually like because it's the opposite of patronising them. And they become self-explanatory after you watch the presentations. I was just chuffed with it. And I thought the manner of the presentations was really good as well. The woman who was the convener, she had
Yes.
an interesting old-fashioned name.
Armitage.
Not Venetia. No,
Linnea.
no, the one, no, the
Vanessa Carswell.
she was the facilitator. Oh, I didn't think it was her there. I thought she was introduced with something like Venetia or something like
There was also a Vanessa.
Vanessa. Now,
Yes.
which one was her?
She was the project. She was from
Yes, she
Architects, I
was the-
believe.
She was the facilitator.
No.
She was the one that was over there.
Pro-
Oh, right. Okay, I got muddled. But both of them were excellent, I thought, especially excellent. And I do know the bloke, but I can't remember his name.
Brent
Brent
Smith.
Smith, he was great. And I really would like to be able to say that. Yeah, I know he does.
Mhm.
Brent was the one that presented for the flooding when Sparks Road came up, and we had those floodings in Green Park and around, because the area was underneath was lowered during the earthquakes, and so they got flooded. And he was excellent at those meetings as well. So I really like to acknowledge that, and I thank you for raising it because I think they were great. And I think if staff can keep up a solid flow of information and in that calm way, I think we'll come through it really well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the staff. are
Oh, the
outstanding,
only
isn't it?
thing I did notice was it made me really aware that this room, which is used by us max twice a week, you know, that kind of thing, and used and not ever used 8 hours a day. This room has the most beautiful outlook of the park and the best lighting and everything. And really, this should be the room where the community can hold more meetings amongst themselves and that kind of thing. It should be used more, this room, instead of being held for so-called important people or something like that. You know?
And that's where that's really important for our staff to be involved as much as the library staff, as Keir was saying, because they're here 8 hours a day, or actually longer, let's be
A
honest.
bit more so.
Probably.
I
but,
asked
yeah.
for the staff to come in on the morning meeting, and
but-
they went back, and apparently the staff were quite happy with the attendance that they were having.
Yeah, that's good.
yeah.
I think the reflection of the meeting shows how passionate people are and their concern and love for the building, because it is so important. And those naysayers who somehow always float to the top are actually, you know, that
In a minority in a way.
and they're really brave with the keyboard, but they don't want to show up. And it's no, it is. It's really good. But you know that it was how can you argue is that the staff wanted to start at the start, which you acknowledged, and this is what it is. It's right at the start. They want to get all the information, not only from the public but from the staff, and do it properly and look at the fantastic changes we can make.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I just want to mention something too that I found personally hurtful, was that Councillor Jani Johansson voted against the funding for this building, voted against. And secondly, we as a board have for 10 years consistently put the swimming pool at Linwood and the swimming pool at Hornby at the top of our annual plan requests and our long-term plan requests. We have put them and their capital expenditure and their infrastructure ahead of our own for 10 years. We put the swimming pools in both districts ahead of our own. And that man who has benefited from the build of the swimming pool, which I'm very glad has happened, that man is the one that voted against our capital expenditure. We have been historically a very modest board in our requests. and we've only made legitimate requests. We've never exaggerated our demands, and we've never persisted. That's true, isn't it, Mel? No.
It's very important we don't gold plate
I
things,
know,
is
but
my
I haven't
understanding.
seen- But so I just wanted to put that on record. I want to put it on record so it's meeting, and I'm going to say something to him when I see him. Anything else?
Just planting at Simeon Park on Sunday morning, 10 to 12.
Ah. 10 to 12?
Yep. I think so.
I didn't go. Did anybody?
No, coming up.
No.
So Mel will get there at 1.
I didn't. You know, the garden, South Christchurch Garden, community garden on Strickland. I did not go. I just completely forgot that Saturday morning. Oh.
I was in COVID isolation. I don't know which Saturday we're talking about, but I COVID
And Where was
isolation.
there, was he? Did you
Right,
go to that
everything.
one? And you saw Duncan there. Good on him. So Simeon Street is at what time? Plantings? What? 10 till 12. Okay, that seems to, and lastly, we have to move a resolution for someone to be on the representative on the committee associated with the build. Lee has put his name forward, but how are people feeling about that? Yeah, that's what we thought. But I don't think there's going to be any argument if we're thinking of the future about, for instance, other people asking if they could come along at a certain time just to hear what people are saying. I don't think there's going to be any worry about that. So I don't think any of us should feel that we can't attend meetings or.
Yeah, I think we have to, as a board, we can't just say to Lee, okay, mate, you've got this. It's your problem, no, right? We have to own it too.
But we all want to own it. And I absolutely agree with you, because I said to someone yesterday, the most loved building in Christchurch, and that's not an exaggeration.
But we do need an official attendee on it.
Yeah,
so
an
that-
official attendee.
Yeah.
And you're dead right, he knows process. So I'd like to nominate Lee. Can I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Because we have to do it formally. Thank you, Kier. Any further discussion? All those in favour, please say aye. Against, abstentions, carried. Knowing that after the election, every position is up and has to be done again. Every representative position has to be done again. So we know that too. So if Lee falls over flat on his face and sells land that's owned by the council to someone private for his own gain, then we'll find out.
We were going to investigate a public-private partnership, right? Isn't that top of the list?
Oh, the private public.
I have to say, when I saw that, I just went, oh.
With the have your say survey about the new version of this building, is the board or board members able to board ideas? Can we do that as a grouping, or can we just do it individually? Because is this a proper consultation? Because I thought, are we just a survey?
I think he's representing the board. So if you wanted to put an idea through as coming from the board, and you and the board, I think you should.
Well, we should get together as a board to come up with
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah, I think we should.
Can we
I
organise a
agree
time?
entirely with you. Do people agree with that? Would you like it to be sooner or later?
I think personally, for us to get, it'd be good to hear what a lot of the public is saying.
Yeah,
So maybe we do it slightly later,
that's what I was wondering.
because we remember, although we represent this building for the people of the area,
Yeah.
we also, that we're really after what the users want.
Yep, and I think we should do it before the election, because there'll be lots of
Oh.
input after the election, but I
Yeah.
think we should get something down. So what I'm thinking is that we should be thinking about the issues, and that in about 6 to 8 weeks, we ask someone to come in and have a talk to us. And we put together some ideas, nothing final, just suggestions that we can expect Lee to take to the meetings, either or. We might go to attend a meeting as an extra sometimes.
Because one of those things that was out that I'd never thought about, but it's just naturally out there, that old gentleman with the hard of hearing said it's really good acoustics because you can hear everything. But when kids are having a good time, they're not intruding that noise, you know, so how, it's obviously a fluke of the build, but we should, yeah.
For some reason, it's got it's dead spots and doesn't echo through the building, and he's right. The kids don't echo. You can hear them. Hang on. So is that the finish of that? Okay. Can I have a mover and just, unless someone has noticed something in the public excluded minutes from last time, we don't need to go into public excluded to confirm the minutes. So did anybody notice anything in the public excluded minutes that needed correction? Okay, can I have a mover that we receive the Tim and seconded public excluded? Who was here? Callum. Can I have a notice motion that the minutes be confirmed as true and correct? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, abstentions carried. She's writing things to me, but I'm
No,
drinking
no,
on
no,
the bench.
this is my notes.
Oh, right. Okay, I think that's it. I think we've done everything that we should have done. The trouble is, it's an hour to go until the meeting. Oh, sorry, yes, go ahead.
Tukuna te Wairoa kia rere ki te taumata ko te matatika te matapono hei arahi i ngā mahi ka arotahi te tira kia iki panuku kia iki tangaroa homie huie tā ihi e.
Thank you.
Gosh, I mean, thank you, Lee. We look forward to
Okay.
you coming home. When do you think you'll be coming back?
I'm back next Thursday, so look forward to catching up then.
Okay.